Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World is here on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, released by Disney. It can be found as a Steelbook edition, available at your online retailers. I've counted this film as one of my favorites since I first saw it in theaters. Russell Crowe was perfectly cast as Captain Jack Aubrey, with Paul Bettany as the ship's doctor and friend. The film focuses on the crew of the HMS Surprise and its pursuit of the French ship Acheron. It's a very compelling story from start to finish, and I would love to have seen more films to be made, but as a standalone, it's highly recommended. Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray has an aspect ratio of 239:1 with native 4K resolution, and it supports both HDR10 and Dolby Vision. For a list of equipment that I use for my review, check the video's description. For its debut on the 4K format, Master and Commander was given a restoration for this release. Disney is not necessarily overly forthcoming with restoration information on their movies, but I will say that the look over the old Blu-ray showcases a much better image quality. The transfer rests on a 66GB size disc, and bit rates are healthy, but I wouldn't say particularly strong. Film grain is nicely layered and doesn't appear to have been managed. The source itself appears clean and problem-free with no issues present. While I do think the improvements in image clarity are apparent, there is some inconsistency overall. This more or less is most likely due to the source. Some inherent softness remains in a handful of shots, and the rendering of special effects, which are supposedly from a 2K DI, do reveal some limitations. There is, however, very nice full 4K clarity in a good majority of the film. Detail enhancement is more than appreciable. Facial features, for instance, have excellent depth and texture. Once again, some softness does creep in occasionally, but nothing I felt was troubling or problematic. You can certainly see very nice pronounced imperfections in the wood of the ship, both before and after a battle. The film's palette has always been a bit muted and reserved as far as the visual experience, and that continues here with the 4K supported by Dolby Vision. Day scenes, for instance, when the crew are on the Galapagos Islands, look very nice, but still within the tone of the film's look. The opening sequence as the crew are enveloped in the fog may lead you to believe that general color has been sapped out of the image, but this is definitely not the case. Black levels are generally well rendered with dark and atmospheric night scenes, and the interior of the ship is conveyed well. There is some slight tiptoeing on the line of crush, but it doesn't appear to readily go over it. Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray supports a Dolby Atmos audio mix, which folds down to a Dolby True HD 7.1. There's also international options available. To be quite honest, the inclusion of a new Dolby Atmos track had me quite excited, as it would no doubt take on an already incredible 5.1 from the previous physical media releases and further expand upon it. From the jump, I was a little taken back with the slight dial back of the film's low-end presence, and it honestly kept me quite worried for most of the duration. I've had a few days to mull over things, and while there is certainly a slight nerfing of the LFE, for the average viewer, I don't believe they would necessarily agree or feel that it is a diminished experience. The opening battle sequence will certainly provide quite a rumble, as do other moments sprinkled throughout the film that utilize the low end. It never approaches overly aggressive, which I think is what a lot of us remember from the DVD days, but I'm not necessarily sure it's a bad thing. It feels more contained, purposeful, so having rewatched those key scenes again, I'm not as distressed. There will no doubt be some that disagree with that assessment, and that's fine. As far as the Atmos itself, I found it to be very entertaining and pretty solid as far as an experience goes. Yes, the height channel output is very engaging, and it gives the listener quite a bit to chew on. While plentiful and almost always active, the film's sound design is more static than dynamic, so just beware going in. General atmospherics, the creaks and groans of the ship, the drop down of the sails, and chaos during the battle utilize the high speakers more than effectively. Mid-level and rears are equally impressive, and at any given time keep the viewer into the action, as well as the film's quieter moments, which offer a lot of immersion. Once again, the general noise of the interior of the ship, weather effects also add a lot to the mix, and robust cannon fire and crowd noise also populate the surrounds. Dialogue reproduction is clean, though it can occasionally be a bit difficult to hear what's being said, so it may warrant a slight adjustment to the center channel volume. I honestly wish that some new bonus materials were included for this release, or even some of the missing DVD extras that never appeared on the Blu-ray. If those would have been included, I think we could have been happy with it. It seems to be a simple copy and paste from the old Blu-ray, which is included here. For the picture quality, I'm going to give Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray an A. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how the transfer and upgrade over the Blu-ray turned out for this release. There is some noteworthy image clarity, Dolby Vision adds subtle but welcome enhancements to the palette, and the overall look of the film benefits from the 4K upgrade. I think fans overall will be pleased. For the audio, I scored it an A. The Dolby Atmos to my ears offers a very immersive and full experience with the newly added speaker real estate in play. Sure, it doesn't quite check off every box on the audio wish list for this film, but I think mostly it gets more right than it doesn't, and it's an overall very pleasing track. And the extras, I graded them a D. It's a pretty lazy effort as far as bonus materials go, and even the ones offered on the disc are not really of heavy substance. When it comes to putting extras for a movie on 4K, it seems to be either feast or famine these days, and unfortunately, in this case, it's a bit of famine. So that is my review of Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray from Disney. If you're interested in picking up a copy for yourself, I will leave a direct link in the comments section. But if you have the disc already, let us all know your thoughts down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.